And if you look back in the records, okay, I know that I have the best qualifications because I've broken 5 guys that are working there right now, and you can ask any one of them. And it's the same old story. When you try to get a job for the village or for a town, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Servate.
You're welcome.
Any other comments from the public?
Yeah. Mr. Vitti again. I was at the prior meeting. I understand they got a ironclad floor up at the park, Crawford Park. It's good. But anybody go downstairs, underneath, they have coal up to the ceiling. They have doors on the outside. They're open the wrong way. What else can I say about that place? I don't think there's any, there's asbestos downstairs. How could you rent that place out? We just had a problem with the elevator because the 2 guys that were in charge of that didn't do their job properly. And now it costs us, I don't know, $5,000, $6,000, and people have to walk up the flight of stairs, and when they get to the top, they're kind of winded. And a guy like Mr. Bishop, I ain't going to hire you because you might drop dead on the job. Well, I think there's something wrong with this whole system. And Joe, I'm surprised you are backing this guy up because it's wrong. And I would, before we get sued, you better straighten out the problem up at Crawford Park before you rent it out again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vitti. Thank you for bringing those safety concerns to our attention. In fact, Mr. Nowotnik and Mr. DeLeo, would you check into those? And come back to me and file a report on all those concerns about asbestos, et cetera, coal to the ceiling. And thank you for bringing that to our attention, Mr. Vitti. I appreciate that.
I just want to add to that, on that report that you provide the supervisor, also please include the insurance company. They did a walkthrough and an analysis and a very detailed report on our needs and on that facility. Please include that in that report.
In fact, actually, that reminded, where do we stand with our fire escape effort and revitalizing the 3rd floor at Crawford Park?
We have 2 architectural proposals that appear to be a little on the high side in this particular case. We're trying to see if we can't get those costs lowered.
How much are they for?
Well, we have one at $11,000. That's Easton Architects, and by the way, that's $11,000 for the basic design, et cetera. That does not include any construction administration, which would come at an hourly rate of $150 an hour.
Why do we need an architectural proposal to put up some stairs, fire stairs?
Because you need to have them compliant with fire code. It is not as easy as just attaching it to the building. There is interior work that needs to be done. For example, in order to fix these to the building, we need to cut down the size of one room, increase the clearance. It requires professional to do it. Otherwise, you're facing potential liability if you do it wrong. The second proposal that we have is from Jamola Associates. They're out of Hudson, New York, and their proposal is, excuse me, 10-2. And again, the real problem here is the 10-2 does not include construction administration, which would be in these guys' case. This would be.
We talked about in an earlier meeting.
All right, and
I just don't understand why we I just don't understand. There's the government world and then there's the rest of the world. And the rest of the world operates efficiently, and the government world operates wholly inefficiently. I don't understand why we can't get some freaking fire steps up and renovate that third floor. Why, I don't understand why it takes so long. Please.
Why can't we ask either the county or our local fire department to tell us what the fire codes would be and how we go about?
We have the current fire codes and the stair specifications. That we have. You're talking about a $40,000 to $70,000 job. You're talking about attaching a fire-coated staircase and, in adding it to the building. That would require you to file a permit. That would require you to be liable. If you did it wrong, trust me, you would be sued. And I don't want to be there, so I want professional assistance, and that's why we went out to try and get architects. The difficulty I have here is that architectural fees are $11,000 on a project that could be as low as $40,000. That's my concern, is I think...
Well, okay, but you can't have it both ways. I mean, at the end of the day, okay, so so what's your suggestion then?
What I'd like to do is I'd like to actually put this out in an official bid document and see if we can't broaden the search and see if we can't get some better pricing. Obviously, architects are out there. I'm not saying they're a dime a dozen, but there are plenty out there.
Okay, let's do that for next meeting.
Okay.
I want to have this. I mean, we should get the thing up for the summer, and I want the rooms renovated and
What are you
dimensionally.
thinking for using the second floor now that we have?
The second floor is wasted. It's not used at all. I mean, I think there's all kinds of clubs, meetings they could be used. It could be a community center. I think that there's all kinds of people that are currently using the whole mansion where they could use that. Those rooms for meeting. The Chamber of Commerce used to use it.
What about if, I don't know what our thinking is as far as our office building? Why can't we offer something on the second floor of our office building instead of spending all the money and putting a fire escape on Crawford? Can we use a room on the second floor at Pearl Street?
We actually have a nice renovated second floor on Pearl Street. I guess there's 2 points. We have, we have infrastructure that we have available that we can make available to the public, and I think we can certainly do both. I think that the idea was to get the cost and get a proposal and a firm proposal how much it was going to cost, and I guess what we started with the architectural services, and they've come in too high. And so we're sort of sitting here, Deputy Supervisor Villanova?
Well, I mean, ultimately, if we're going to make an investment, we need to know what our return on that investment is going to be. So the bottom line for me, if we're going to spend somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 on a project, and we need to see where that revenue is going to come in. So you can have, it appears that we could have high costs with low impact to our operating statement here, and our revenues are not going. I mean, at what point in the life of this fire escape are we going to break even on that project? How many months? How many years? And right. So Michelle, you're right. Councilwoman Mendocino. Does this benefit us? Does it impact? If it's going to be more convenient, to do this, that's great. But the bottom line is, and like Goldie says, people are hurting in the village of Portchester. People are hurting throughout New York State. And if we're going to, work tight on this budget, and this is an expense that may not necessarily be needed, but if we can benefit from it, if there's going to be a revenue benefit and it's going to affect the taxpayers positively, yes, I'm for it. But if we're going to put money out there and not realize an additional revenue source, then I'm hesitant to support it.
Okay, why don't we, Mr. Nowotnik, could you prepare a cost-benefit analysis for us for the next meeting, please? With Mr. Arcaro's support.
We will be glad to, but understand that absent the policy decisions for the nonprofit use and so forth, it becomes extremely difficult. We can put in a cost analysis based on the proposed policy, if you'd like, and use that as a straw man.
I think that maybe I don't want to tell you what to do, but maybe you could give him some guidance as to what your thinking is as to what you want to use those rooms for. So, because it's going to be hard for him to put an analysis together if he's not quite sure where your direction is as far as.
Well, I'll help him. I'll help him.
For business
Sure, I'll help him put it together. I think there's two, possibilities. I think, and so we're here to generate a discussion. Deputy Supervisor Villanova said, unless we generate revenue, it doesn't make sense, and that's a fair point. But then it's basically a business decision.
Yeah, for me, that's how I see it.
And that's a fair point, a fair approach.
The other thing we have to keep in mind, too, is that Crawford is really supposed to be used for recreation.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. So then the other alternative would be there wouldn't be a return on investment. You're basically providing another public space for and I think, so what I'll do, I'll work with Mr. Arcaro and Mr. Nowotnik to make a proposal on both counts, and you're absolutely right, Councilwoman Mendocino. We also need to take into account the deed, whether or not we can do it for return. So let me come back to the board with some suggestions. Great. Any other comments from the public? All right. If not, then let's. I think we can go through these resolutions pretty quickly. Once we get Mr. Markowitz up here, we can rip through these. So we're hiring Mr.
So let's start with the first one, if I may.
Yeah.
This is my initiative. This is a matter of Sunoco be the town of Rye, tax years 2006 through 2009. It is a cert. It is it's in the system now, so we do need representation.
Can we? I don't know. Have I asked in the past to have our value versus theirs?
We're ready. Way ahead of you, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Markowitz is going to come up and give you the valuations. Ours.
Can we just have it in the
theirs?
package in the future?
Oh,
Just
okay.
say these are the numbers, guys.
Okay.
This is where we are. This is where we are.
you know,
I don't know. Have I ever asked for that in the past? Or
You have asked it in some.
10,000 times?
No.
10,000.
Well, hold on.
Jesus.
Not when we always hire counsel.
I just every time anything that has
Now it's
anything,
every time,
okay.
yeah.
So just let me make the policy clear.
Now
I
it's every
apologize.
time.
Let me
Yeah, no,
make
we
the
got
policy
it.
clear. Anything to do with any certiorari filing whatsoever.
Yes.
I want to see our numbers and their numbers.
We got 'em.
Okay.
That's why I told
Okay.
Mr.
So
Markowitz.
what are the numbers?
Podium. Yeah.
Just our numbers and their numbers.
All right, we got that.
Thank you.
We're ready.
Okay.
Mr. Markowitz and I are prepared for this. Okay.
I will be happy to discuss that. I can go specifically, or I can group them into two groupings. Any preference?
Let's just do the Sunoco first so I can get past this resolution, and then we'll
Okay.
go one at a time.
Sunoco, in 2004, they had an assessment of $1,500,000. Their claimed value was $150,000.
All right. Now here we go. It's time for this moment. This is time in the moment of the meeting.
Okay.
10% of value. So
Correct.
Sunoco just stealing money from our school children. Next year, what are they doing? We're 1.4.
Same thing.
1.5. They're at $150,000. Now Sunoco, I want you to know that you're going to go on our wall of shame. And the wall of shame is you're telling the whole community that your $1.5 million property is worth $150,000. Come on, let's get serious, Sunoco. Next year.
Next year, 2005.
I'm sorry, did they give us any information to substantiate the $150,000? Are they giving us one piece of paper?
I believe the answer is no.
No, not one piece of paper. Okay, let's see Sunoco next year.
Okay, 2005, the assessment was $1,350,000. Their claim was still $150,000, or approximately 11%.
We received one piece of paper substantiating that claim.
No.
Okay.
2006, the assessment was $1,458,000. Coincidentally, they claimed $145,800, 10%.
Okay, any one piece of paper?
No.
Okay.
For 2007, they claimed the assessment was $1,625,500. Magically, they claimed $162,550, 10% of value.
Any piece of paper?
No. 2008, we have a little bit of a change. The assessment was $1,625,500, the same as 2007. They made a claim that their property was worth $500,000, or approximately 31% of their assessment. Again,
One piece of paper?
No paper. In 2009, a similar pattern, and 2010.
Where are we? Have they given us one piece of paper in the last 6-7 years?
I believe the answer is no.
Okay, and where did we come out? Where did Vision Appraisal come out in their evaluation?
I believe very similar to our 2010
And
assessment.
they visited the property now, right? The premises?
That's correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
And so, look, could you organize a meeting with myself and yourself and the Chamber of Commerce Because it's important that the business owners in Portchester understand that they're the ones that's being most screwed. Because we have a homestead, isn't that correct, Mr. Markowitz? So
That is
the less
correct.
Sunoco pays, the more every business owner in Portchester pays. Is that correct?
That is essentially correct.
Okay, so every one of these guys is screwing not just the schools, but every other business owner in Portchester. You know, we just heard about from Ms. Solomon at length about the difficult economy, and, you know, the business owners are the people that create jobs and real jobs. If the business owners are going to have to pay more taxes because some people, nefarious business owners are scamming the system, you know, it certainly doesn't help matters. Okay, so we're going to, can I get a motion to hire Mr. Vitigliano?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, I guess
Let's call the roll.
Gelfar.
Aye.
Mendocino. Villanova. Carbon.
Yes. Okay, what's the next one, Mr. Markowitz? Who else is
The
hiring Valuation
next
Plus?
resolution is to hire Valuations Plus to provide us with appraisal services in connection with two pending certioraries that are in front of the judge.
All right, and who are they?
The first one is 31 Pearl Street, better known as Near Rye Bakery. Okay, the second one is 1 Gateway Plaza, which is the glass office building at the corner of South Main Street and Purdy Avenue.
And are these,
And I will characterize their claims as follows. In the case of 31 Pearl Street, most years there was a claim at 10 or 11% of their assessment. For 1 Gateway Plaza, there was a claim, their claims were more, I won't say realistic, but a little bit closer. Their claims were at 21% to approximately 51% of their assessment.
okay, could I get a motion to approve Valuation Plus, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Gelfar. Mendocino. Villanova.
Yes.
Carbon.
Okay.
Yes, the next resolution is to settle up a certiorari claim for the year 2010. It is for a home unit in the Doral complex. In this particular case, we're only settling assessment year 2010, which has not been the basis for taxation yet. They approached my office with a
This is a home unit, did you say?
this is a home. It's
Residential?
corporate-owned, so they're not eligible for a SCAR proceeding. They must go through a certiorari proceeding.
Owned by a corporation?
Owned by a corporation. That's correct.
All right, and here the
Even
reduction is,
LLC.
the reduction's de minimis?
The reduction's de minimis. The refunds are essentially non-existent. We're getting rid of the problem with no cost to the town, no cost to the village, no cost to the school district.
Okay. Any comments, questions from the board? You get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Gelfar. Mendocino. Villanova.
Yes.
Carbon.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, the next resolution is to settle a certiorari that's been pending since the year 2002. It involves the years 2002 through 2010. I will tell everybody for the record, it involves the Mamaroneck Beach and Yacht Club at 550 South Bowery. One of the difficulties with this property has been they're in constant litigation with the village of Mamaroneck, so for years it kept getting put off because nobody would talk to anybody, through no fault of the town's. In any event, this, well, let me read the
Well, we have the recommendation of council, as my understanding is our council's recommending we settle at this property, and secondly, my understanding is our settlement is better than the settlement achieved by the village of Mamaroneck.
That is absolutely correct. There are years where we have no changes and the village of Mamaroneck settled, and for the years that we did settle with Mamaroneck Beach and Yacht Club, which were the years 2007, 2008, 2009, and 2010, in the aggregate, our settlement numbers were about $1.6 million higher than the village of Mamaroneck's settlement numbers 2 months ago. So we were...
Better, you're saying?
That is correct.
Right, okay. That's, any questions, comments from the board?
I'm just curious, how does that come about? I mean, why would the village of Mamaroneck, be willing to, so to speak, cave?
They had other litigation considerations. I expressed privately my concern over their settlement numbers. We don't tell the village of Mamaroneck what to do.
Okay.
Motion to approve? Second.
Gelfarb. Mendocino. Villanova.
Yes.
Carvin.
Yes. Now, this next appointment, Mr. Mark, what you just explained, this is a Rye Brook appointment, is that right?
This is an appointment to the Town Board of Assessment review of a Rye Brook resident.
But it's promoted by the Village of Rye Brook, correct?
It will be ultimately...
They're representative to the
yes,
Park Committee, right?
Yes, they will ultimately vote on it.
No, but I'm saying the initiative to recommend this person comes from the Village of Rye Brook. Is that not correct?
I believe the initiative actually comes from the town of Rye. The way.
All right, hold on. Let's just educate myself and the people at home. So there's five people on the Board of Assessment Review. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And how do they get nominated to the board?
They get nominated through a process outlined in an intermunicipal agreement between the town of Rye and the Village of Rye Brook and the Village of Portchester. Essentially, the agreement calls for the five-member board to be comprised of two residents of Rye Brook, 2 residents of Portchester, 1 resident of the Village of Mamaroneck, the Rye Neck School District. The way the agreement reads, and Paul, please correct me if I'm wrong, essentially, one of the appointments for a Rye Brook Village representative is made by the Village of Rye Brook, and then the next one is made by the town. In each case, it requires the other.
Okay, so this one is made by the Village of Rye Brook, correct?
No. Yes. Okay, my mistake.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes.
That's what we were told.
All right, so next one we'll do the town.
Rye-
Next
Rye
Rye Brook
Village
resident
Board
will come.
Voted
Exactly.
to to agree to have him reappointed.
Exactly. So, because as I understand, so the 2 Rye Brook residents, the town has the ability to initiate and suggest and promote one of the 2, and then the Village of Rye Brook has the ability to initiate and suggest and promote the other of the 2.
Absolutely, and in both cases, each jurisdiction, has
to
the final
finalize
say in it.
Right. So, in this case, this person's being nominated at their initiative.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. So I obviously, since I certainly defer to them, he's been on the board. I understand he's doing a good job.
That's correct. He's been on the board for a number of years. He has done a good job.
So I'd like to recommend we get a motion to approve Mr. Niles.
Motion to approve Mr. Niles.
Second.
Second.
Gelfarb.
Aye.
Mendocino. Villanova.
Yes.
Carvin.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Markowitz. Mr. Nowotnik.
Okay. Quickly just run through the history and where we are at the moment. Approximately the weekend of April 16th, we had that very heavy weekend storm. It happened to coincide with the failure of a sump pump down in our basement, which then caused flooding, which then caused the failure of 2 other sump pumps, which then knocked out both of the furnaces in the town basement, knocked out the elevator service at the town, as well as water damage basically, the lower foot of the records room, which is also located in the basement. We found out about this that Monday. We immediately contacted our insurance company and got a remediation team in, contacted our plumbers to pump out the basement. We have since repaired both furnaces. We're in the process of repairing the elevator, and we have relocated all of the records of the Fran Nugent Historic Library up to the first floor, the old assessment office on the first floor. We've made a couple of corrections down in the basement. We've now put all 3 sump pumps, which are new. All of them, each of them, I should say, is on a separate circuit. We have successfully worked with the insurance adjuster to include the raising of the elevator mechanics, so that now those motors and pumps are not at floor level, but they're about 14, 15 inches above floor level. And as I said, we've relocated all of the records up to the first floor. We are working with our insurance company. We are also working with the New York State Office of Records Management, and Greg Arcaro, I think, can talk a little bit about our application for an emergency grant. But the town is covered under their policy with a $5,000 deductible, so the majority of the costs that go toward, and we're estimating they're going to be in excess of about $50,000. They'll probably be closer to 60. The majority of that cost is picked up by the insurance company, less, again, the $5,000 deductible.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Arcaro.
Thank you. Just very briefly, there have been three grants submitted to the New York State Archive. One was as a follow-up to the Rye 350 celebration, which was approved for $5,290, and that will be completed by the end of June. And that will enable the minutes of the town council from the very first minutes in the 1600s to the year 2010 to be digitized and be able to be accessible on the website.
Ah, beautiful.
In addition, the Rye Town Park Commission minutes from beginning...
They have problems with certioraries and back in the 60s.
It didn't come up.
Cows and chickens.
Yeah, exactly.
So that grant has been received by the town from the New York State Archive. A second application was submitted, which we don't know the results of. That one is more in the way of being able to obtain for the town the equipment to do the conversion from paper and from microfilm to digital by ourselves. We don't know the answer to that. Companion piece to what Bishop just spoke about, this New York State Archive is a wonderful support mechanism to municipalities in the state. They have a disaster recovery program, maximum of $20,000. That grant request went in on Monday for $15,000 to recover some of the costs that the town is going to spend. Two principal ones are the $11,000 to freeze dry, very interesting process to freeze dry the wet documents, take the moisture out of them, I guess much like freeze-dried coffee, take the moisture out of the coffee bean and then leave the little kernel. And the second piece of that was the shelving. A third piece of that was new boxes and tissue for the new documents, so the total was a $15,000 submission that was submitted on Monday. And yet to be finalized would be the opportunity that our town, as many, does not have a disaster management plan. Should we want to pursue that, the state would provide a $10,000 grant to retain a consultant to help us carry out a management plan as part of a larger plan that...
Yeah, absolutely, we should pursue that. Thank you.
You're talking about a management plan for documents?
Exactly. In their case, they're supporting exactly that. For document and computer-type damage to records.
Okay.
So there are 4 interactions with the New York State Archive. Again, a wonderful resource to municipalities here like the town.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Arcaro. Okay.
This will be me,
This will be you.
if I may.
Please.
The board may recall from our 2009 in rems of this property at 313 Locust Avenue, which we took in rem, auctioned it off, couldn't sell it because there's a title issue with the estate of Warren M. Scott, whose heirs own part of the house. I brought an action to quiet title in the town in Supreme Court, and as part of that process, I have to serve the unknown heirs of Warren M. Scott. To do that, I requested from the court permission to serve by publication, meaning we publish in the newspaper the summons and saying, all people, be noticed, et cetera. The court rejected my application and said that you need to do an heir search first to demonstrate why you should be able to serve by publication. So, ergo, in front of you is a retainer letter with a search service that will do this. There are about potentially 15 heirs of Warren M. Scott, who died in 1920 in Westchester County. So they're going to have to do a fairly extensive heir search for us to get us to the point where we can serve by publication and then take title. So my request is that we